Good afternoon. I took myself out into the world so that the gnats could bother me, and it was nice to just come down by the water for a couple of minutes. I have an appointment at 4 o'clock, and it's about 3:30 right now, and I figured I'd come down here. I started driving about 2 weeks ago. My left knee was the one that was done, and I figured as long as I could get it in the car and I didn't have a clutch to worry about, that I could drive. And so I have been. I had the intention of talking about my three-wheeled electric bicycle that I bought. And I bought one that was supposed to be good for somebody who is 6 foot 2 inches tall. And I am 6'3", and I figured 6'2" was close enough. And when I got on it and started riding it with the seat up really high, when I went over a driveway or like crossing streets on something, it just felt really too tippy, so I gave up on it. I'm going to return it. You got to be safe. So I thought it was a brilliant idea that it would be stable and I could pedal. And if I was a foot shorter, it would have been great, because then the seat would have been a foot lower and the logistics would have been much better. So talking about pain, my knee still, for the most part, it doesn't hurt to walk. It doesn't hurt to do very much. According to doctor's orders, after my 6 weeks, and today is 6 weeks, after 6 weeks I still have this immobilizer on for all weight-bearing activity, which I don't like, but the doctor said to do it, so I do it. And it is problematic, but who's going to say the doctor's wrong? So I do as I'm told. It's okay. It's just an inconvenience. It isn't a pain. And there's a big difference between pain and inconvenience. And I don't have a lot of pain. I certainly have some discomfort when I try to bend my knee, especially after I've been sitting with the immobilizer on for 4 or 5 hours and forget to take it off and bend my knee. But it does bend. If I'm patient with it, I can get it to bend again. And I think first thing in the morning, I think I'm probably at 120 degrees, which makes me happy. By 3 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, when the PT people comes, it's not 120. But my knee swells up. I try to keep it elevated, and I put cold on it sometimes. And what can you do? It is what it is. And in another month it'll be much better. So after a month and a half, it is much better. The pain that I experienced 5 weeks ago is a memory, and right now I sort of feel like I was over. It wasn't that bad. Come on. And I think that's kind of normal, that people downplay pain somewhat in their lives, or they exaggerate it. But right now it isn't that bad. And a lot of my biggest problem with getting my left knee done was that I didn't really understand what it was going to be like. I didn't understand how to take care of myself. And now that I've been through it, hopefully I won't forget, because my right knee has been bad for years. My left was worse. So whenever the left one gets good enough, I'll probably get the right one done, even though it is going to hurt a lot, and I'm going to have to go through the whole process with a different leg, but the end result should be worthwhile. And I guess that's one of the things that I wanted to talk about. I got a notebook here, and I've been trying to jot down ideas about things that go with this concept. And I think a lot of times pain can be a guiding force. But most of the time it's people don't do things because they're afraid of pain, which is a perfectly sensible thing. But sometimes people have to do things even though they know it's going to hurt. You're in a bad relationship that hurts all the time, and you get out of it and it's still going to hurt in some way. But in time it can be better. And that's the thing, is that people don't do things that are going to hurt unless they can see the light at the end of the tunnel. They can see that it will probably get better. And so if I get the chance to do the other one, I will, even though I know it's going to hurt a lot. I think that is one of the big differences between humans and all of the other animals in the world, is that animals tend not to do things that hurt. We know that. I mentioned it in one of my other things. It's the nature of the beast. Humans tend not to do things that hurt because it hurts. Why do it if it hurts? But it is possible for humans to do something that hurts if there's a good idea for it. And that, I think, is the difference. It isn't wearing clothes, it isn't building houses or cars or making weapons of mass destruction or any of that stuff. It is understanding that sometimes pain is worthwhile. There are two kinds of fear, and I think if you change the word fear for the word pain, it'll probably work. I think it will. There's two kinds of fear. There's the kind that keeps you alive, and there's the kind that keeps you from living. And it works the same way with pain. Some pain keeps you alive. I mean, the fear of pain will keep you alive, and sometimes the fear of pain will keep you from actually living. So there is that. I've been talking with some people occasionally about art, doing art, and I consider myself an artist, and a lot of what I'm going to be doing, besides killing gnats that are sucking blood, I do art, and what I will end up doing, I hope, on these videos is talking about the process of doing art and why it isn't necessarily easy for creative and artistic people to make art. And I think one of the problems is that they have a tendency to expect more from themselves. They expect that when they sit down and start doing something, they expect the end result to be perfect. And unless you're Michelangelo, it's not going to be perfect. It can't be. Well, the first one is probably not going to be perfect. Michelangelo, the stuff that he hated, the stuff that he quit in the middle of, was better than anybody else's best. So we don't think about Michelangelo as other than as the unattainable. The rest of us, like I've done some kinetic sculpture, and I got into a roll once where I had blacksmith equipment, and I made one, and it was nice. There wasn't anything wrong with it, but it wasn't what I wanted. And I did a second one, and it was nice, but it wasn't what I wanted. And I did a third and a fourth and a fifth, and they were all interesting in their own way, but they didn't do what I wanted them to do. And I got down to a point where I had just about a week where I could continue to work on this, and so I had one more that I could make. That was it. And so I started working on it, and I came up with something that was, in a very big way, what I wanted. And so doing art is kind of like that. Lots of times you will work on something and it doesn't come out what you want, but just because it doesn't come out the way you wanted it doesn't mean that you should not finish it. You should finish it, but you should finish it for what you can learn from the process. And I think that is a great part of the inspiration that goes with art, that goes with creative endeavors in general, is that I think real artists, real creative people, do things for what they can learn rather than for what they can get from the process. I think most artists are probably more like Leonardo da Vinci, who was reasonably content with room and board as long as he could continue to draw and build and piddle around with things and invent. That's what he was after, was the idea of seeing how things worked. That was the whole purpose for him. And I'm at 12 minutes. I can't hardly believe it. So anyway, it's good to be here. The bugs are winning, and I will get on with the next bit in my life. Thanks for listening. As they say in all of these silly videos, welcome to my channel. Subscribe and like.